Hello, I hope you're all doing well today, and I'm absolutely delighted to show you 5 features of AnswerThis which I don't think you knew existed, but it's going to take your research to the next level. My name is Ryan, I'm the co-founder of AnswerThis, and it's my pleasure to show you these useful features that will take your research to the next level. So, let's waste absolutely no time and dive right into it. Now, I'm sure that all of you have heard of this literature review section, and you've probably used it before quite a few times to get accurate literature reviews with line-by-line citations to the exact sources that you need for your research. However, AnswerThis can actually do much more than that. And the first feature that I want to show you is actually a recent feature. So if you're a pro user, if you go to library, you can have all your papers organized in this neat little spot. Now, the first feature that I'm going to show you is actually to do with the literature review tool. Now, if you're a pro user, you get access to this library option, and here you can store all your research papers, sources, articles that you need for your research. For example, here I have stem cell research, where I have all my papers that are related to stem cell research all in this one handy little section. But if we have, say, hundreds of papers in our library, we can actually go over to the literature review tool. We'll say something like, I'm just going to say stem cell, and see what it comes with. And when we search and go to filters, we can undo research papers and only select our library. And this is going to allow AnswerThis to only use the sources in our library to create a literature review. Of course, you know me, I love to check the double check citations option. And I do love the full paper option as well, but for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to simply select default, and let's see what AnswerThis comes out with. And there we have it, just like that. We got a literature review with, as you can see, line by line citations using the sources that are in my library. Now, if we scroll quickly to the bottom here, we can see that AnswerThis actually used 26 sources from my library. My library only had 40 research papers related to stem cell research, so this is really impressive. That's nearly 75% of my papers all used for this literature review. Now, if we actually dive into it a little bit, obviously all I said was stem cell just to see what I come out with, but it gives an introduction, and I think it's going to thoroughly just explain the whole landscape surrounding stem cells. So it's probably going to give me definitions, probably going to give me how stem cell research is used, and let's see what it actually gave us. So it's talking a little bit about stem cell isolation and separation technologies, which is really important, and it's actually diving into a lot of specific details of how that is able to happen, how you're able to separate stem cells. It also goes into the types of stem cells and their properties, which is really impressive. This is taking a much more holistic view than I actually expected here. Also ethical and regulatory considerations, which is very important in the field, future directions, and also a conclusion section. So very, very solid literature review. Now, I absolutely urge you to try this for yourself. Insert a whole bunch of papers from Zotero or wherever you have all your research papers stored. You can put it into your library and make a literature review just like this. Now, that brings me on to the second feature, which you probably have not heard of, and that is to make a table out of the data that a literature review gave you, or make a table just from any question in particular. So whether you're creating a literature review from scratch using AnswerThis, where you're initially just typing in your question, you can simply ask it to make a table for you, and AnswerThis will go ahead and put the data that's relevant for your question in a neat table. Let me show you how. So in this case, I already have a literature review. I'm very happy with what AnswerThis has provided me here. But I want to make a table out of the research that AnswerThis has found. So I went ahead, I've typed a question saying make a table out of the key properties of stem cells, and also have a section for the different types of stem cells in that table. Let's go ahead and search and see what AnswerThis gives us. Okay, and just like that, as you can see, AnswerThis has indeed come through with a table for stem cell properties and types. I'm actually really impressed because I barely gave any information for AnswerThis to make this table out of, but they've went ahead and done a really good job. They have 4 different properties of stem cells. They go into the origin, potency, self-renewal, all these different types of features, which is really important when it comes to stem cell research. This is absolutely fantastic if you really need to get your data into a table just like this, so that you can easily just come back to it. And it is quite a lengthy table, and of course if you have got a lot of research papers or a lot of sources on one of these subjects or have a question where a big table is necessary, then this obviously comes in very handy. If we go back to the tab and we head over to the library again, a third feature that you will find extremely useful if you enjoy the chat with papers feature that AnswerThis has is the fact that you can actually chat with papers with multiple at a time. This is a recent update of AnswerThis, and if you select multiple of these papers, we'll just pick the first 5, we can actually go ahead and just select chat with paper at the top here, and we can go ahead and just chat with all 5 of them. Of course, if we did want to chat with our entire library of papers, we can also just select all in the top left. But for simplistic purposes, I'm only going to stick to these 5. Now, just to give you an example of how this chat with papers works, it's still loading on the left here, but all of the information immediately goes straight into the AnswerThis system. So I'm going to do the same sort of query that I did last time, just simply say stem cell and see what AnswerThis comes out with. And as you can see, we got an answer which has all 5 of the papers that we inserted, which is absolutely crazy. So all 5 are beneficial, which makes sense because all I said was stem cell. All of these papers are related to stem cell, but AnswerThis has picked that up and has used all 5 to answer my query. Now, as you can see, it simply gave me a definition at the start, which makes sense because all I gave it was stem cell. And we can go and we can see that we have line-by-line citations here as well, similarly to the literature review, except this is much more precise and specific for the questions that I'm asking. So if you want to use this yourself, simply insert the papers that you want to ask a question for. Maybe you have 5 papers all around a certain topic and you really want to delve into very specific questions. This is the perfect tool for you to dive into that research. And for me, it's been immensely helpful when maybe I have a few literature reviews or a few research papers and I want that information, but I don't know exactly where it is or what paper it was in. I can just simply whip up 5 research papers that are all similar in the topic that I'm researching, ask a question and get the specific accurate information that I need. The 4th feature, which I'm excited to show you right now, is the editor tool. Now, we all might have used this before where we get a literature review or a literature review that we made in the past. We just go ahead and type whatever we need or edit whatever we need from that paper. We've got some formatting options as well. But one feature that you may not have took the full advantage of is this AI feature in the top right here. So if we go to the bottom, we can see our recent searches. So if we select one of these literature reviews, let's say, recently I was doing research on how companies are currently using AI and what their investments are looking like in that sector. And so if we have this literature review on whatever our topic is, we can head to the top right here. And in our AI features, we have so many things that we can do. For example, we can rephrase the text. We can have it continue writing the literature review if we want to get even more information. We can also go ahead and humanize the text, which will obviously make it sound a lot more human. We can generate an outline of our paper, which is obviously very helpful. We can generate an abstract, which I enjoy doing because I struggle with writing abstracts myself. And this is actually my favorite one, which is generating research questions. I find this extremely helpful when I'm trying to find research gaps. And this will help me explore where those areas that I should be researching more to find those gaps are. So I'm going to go ahead and actually select this one and see what answer this comes out with. So as you can see in the selected text section, we have our entire literature review here. And if we scroll to the bottom, we can see the proposed changes. And here we get a lot of questions. For example, investment impact for BP. It says, what has been the return or ROI for BP's significant financial commitments in AI startups such as Beyond Limits and Bellman Technology, which is great because this will get into a little bit of the nitty-gritty of their investments. And of course, we've got so many more questions here, which will take me all day to go through, but extremely helpful, and I highly recommend it when you're starting that preliminary research and you want to dive deep into certain topics. And finally, this isn't really a hidden feature, but it's a feature that is wildly helpful and not a lot of people are taking advantage of, and that is the project section. So if we want to add a new project and say have an entire new library there, have entire new literature review questions there, so we can go back for a certain project on literature reviews and overall just organize our research even better, I highly recommend taking advantage of this project section. If we go here, we can add a new project. So let's say I'm doing research on marine life. I can go ahead and just give it a label. We'll say marine life. And we can select a domain. We have lots of domain options here. I said marine life, so that's obviously going to be biology. And if we create, we have now got a new project, and as you can see, our library will be completely empty here. No papers found. We can start a new literature review search, add papers from our literature review, build up our library, and get our research going from our project section. And of course, in our recent queries tab, we'll be able to see the recent queries that we had in this project. We can see the chat with papers that we had with this project. And overall, it just organizes things so much better. So I highly recommend you take advantage of this tool. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please leave a comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these features. And of course, I urge you to use AnswerThis for yourself and see how your research can be revolutionized by this extraordinary tool. Of course, we absolutely love feedback. So if there's anything that you want to see, also leave that in the comment section below. And subscribe if you want content that will elevate your research to the next level. Alright, have a great one.